Hello everyone. My name is Veronica and sprinkle y'all. Today we are gonna get closer because I am gonna let you into my life and I wanna share with you my story and explain what is my content about because I was never speaking on YouTube before, but now I started. And if you have seen my videos and if you was thinking of what I'm trying to explain and give girls advices, yeah, you can notice the similarity between my content and Shera Seven content, which is absolutely true. I have changed myself from my old version to myself today because of her videos. So I think I'm not gonna, keep it in a secret that, I never watched her, this is my own ideas and everything. No, I think that she's the number one and you should watch her content. Just today, I want to share with you why I think my content is different from her, yeah, and why uh, you can still be interested in me. Okay, just honestly, I wanted to say that we have the same idea with her, which is number one, you should put yourself priority number one. Okay, this is the number thing, why I'm trying to translate and show girls to do with themselves. Okay, this is the number one. Number two, you should rely on yourself only and you should prepare your life and just have everything under your control. Okay, and number three, collect the money, obviously. Okay, because we all have been on another side, okay, where we had, in my opinion, wrong ideas about relationship, about how you should, who you should rely on in your life. Because yeah, in patriarchy society, everybody teach us girls to rely on men, that they are more responsible, they're more smart, they have more control about everything. Okay, so growing up with these ideas, you end up in the situation you don't want to be in. Okay, and I think all of us have been there. Okay, but why my content is different from her? Because this is the truth. Okay, Shera Seven is an adult woman. Okay, and we are not sure if she was born like that. Okay, like with this respect on herself, with this high confidence, with this low detachment to men mentality. Okay, we don't know, but she has been this woman for years. Even if she wasn't, or she was, she has been that for many years. Okay, and so she has ideas very strong, very grounded. They are so heavy, so that's why she replied to questions so quick. That's why she knows what to do always, because she lives with this mindset with really really long time. That's why we all should watch her. But what's the difference between me and her? That I have changed recently. Okay, I have been taking her advices for maybe a year, just a year. Okay, and I just know that when you start taking her advices, it's not easy. It's not easy to change your mindset, and it's not like one day routine. It's something that you really work on. So I just personally remember how many questions I had, between this changing. And even though, it's been 1 year, I know I'm not fully, sprinkle like her. Even though, I follow my own advices, I follow her advices, and that's why my life have changed and I am so happy today. But I know it's not, the end of my life. And actually, life is not about the result, it's about the process. So I think this, it's the thing that is gonna you know go with you during whole life. It's not something that you can just, okay, I know how to live and now. Okay, but as a younger woman, I just simply remember what questions I had while changing. Because You start with something that you don't even understand how to work on, because you start with confidence. You start with, these questions like, I don't even know how to look at the people's eyes and feel like, I'm ready to talk, how they can approach me even though I'm beautiful, I'm young, and I am in a rich side of town. Okay, how she says, it's supposed to be, right? When you even already put yourself in these situations, you're not ready to take, the thing that you already attracting, even though you're beautiful, you're young. It's a lot of work with your inside. It's a lot of work with your confidence, with, your reaction. Because I'm telling you, when people start to come into your life and offer you things, you might be not be ready for that. And that's why, uh, I think it's important to share with the routine that you might deal with while you're changing. Okay, so in a perfect condition, I suggest you watch her and me at the same time if you're going through changes in your life, or if you want to change your life. Because fully respect everything she says, but I also think that it's a lot of more work on yourself than, and on your ideas, than just, be like, how she say, you should not be detached. That's it. You should not be thinking about this. You should not be doing that. But it's not easy. If you have been doing something for years, it's not easy to stop just for, like, a second. It's not easy. It's not easy to change your behavior, your thoughts, how you can control your thoughts. You will be able to, but it's not one day work. That's why I'm saying, everything in my life, when I started to change, it came step by step. It wasn't like, I was living my life and I was, pygmisha, I was everything. And then in one day, I found my provider and I just started to have my cool life. It wasn't like this. And that's why I decided to share my story, okay? Uh, it actually wasn't like I was looking for, as Shera says, you should start to be looking for a provider when you tired of work. Okay, for me, it didn't happen like this. First of all, I wasn't working, regularly, like, 9 to 5 job, yeah, in an office or something. I was a blogger for many years, so I already was doing something that I wanted to do. But still, even, I'm Slavic, I didn't want to split. I didn't even know that people split bills. Okay, in Russia, this thing didn't exist. Okay, I didn't hear about 50-50 on dinners before a age of 25 or something, I promise you. And even with all of this, I'm Slavic girl and I was having my money and working on my dream job. Okay, so I was doing what I wanted to do. Even with all of that, I was still building up my man, Barbara the Builder. And I was, putting my energy, my time in someone who obviously don't worth it. And obviously, when I was already building it up, at the end they were leaving me. Even not for another girl, but afterwards. Okay, of course that happens, yeah. But just the thing that they got bored, they already got everything they wanted and they moved on. So I came to this mindset, and that's the time when I met Shera, because I just was really disappointed in the system and, like, relationship and love. So I was like, I don't really think I want to date ever. I was like, I want to focus on my job, I want to focus on money, I want to do this. But I realized that even though I am not sure that I want to have relationship, I'm not sure I want to have marriage, like kids, family and everything, I thought that I'm still dealing with men. No matter how hard I try to, stop myself of, them, someday I end up going on dates. I end up going on dating apps, just like still trying to communicate with them, or they trying to meet me on the street, like things like that. You still meet people and you still dealing with men, even like in my position, I didn't want to. And so that's the time when I met her. And she just, in my opinion, showed me the idea that what if you use the relationship for the wrong reason, okay? Not for, self confidence, not for, the idea that someone cares about you, by saying how beautiful you are, how cool you are, even though I really needed that before. So meeting her to me, was the whole life changing experience because I understood that the love I was seeking for, I just needed to find inside of myself. And you should understand one thing, that when you love yourself for 2 out of 10, the other 8 you will be always looking for in someone. And if you even find it, as I did in my past, it's something, it becomes the instrument that can control you, because this is the value that you're looking for in a relationship. And yes, you can find that for in someone, this someone can give you the security, the love, the care, the feeling that you needed, that validation feeling, okay? But still, as soon as it becomes, the instrument, of manipulation of you, because when a guy realizes that this is what you really need, you don't need his money, you don't need his, I don't know, responsibility. And when he realized that this is so easy to, manipulate you, so easy to get things out of you just by saying that, I think you don't really look good today. And you upset, your whole world is broken, your self, esteem is started to fall down, and, everything is started to just break down, when he understands that this is so easy, to control you, obviously it's gonna be painful for you, just for you. For him, it's nothing. So yeah, the idea of Shera for me introducing other values in relationship was just that, first you have to love yourself, and second, try to take, when you're already in love with yourself, and then another person tried to come into your life and he tried to love bomb you by words. He's trying to, the things that before used to work on you, maybe, okay, and when he tries all these methods and he see it doesn't work, other instruments start to come in, which is materialistic stuff, okay? So yeah, I just think that Shera's idea is absolutely right about, uh, the money. The money is the thing in a relationship, because when it comes to the family, anyway, if you think that you want babies, when you start to have babies, money is important. When you have adult relationship and, you starting to grow, some of you got sick, money is important. When to your family start to get sick, or anyone, just something happens, the pandemic outside, okay, money is important. So no matter how hard you're seeking for true love, this true love should include money. And Shira is absolutely right about it. And I understood that kind of recently, because I thought, I am okay with, working, because my job is already cool. All I need is someone I can rely on and I can trust, and this person just will be loyal and love me, Anyways, Shira is experienced woman and she's seen a lot, but even though I am younger, I am experienced too about, cheating thing, and we have internet, we all seen what's going on. The thing is that Shira is right about the relationship values. The thing is that, I just can explain you more how hard it is to change from your true love ideas to Shira's ideas. But this thing is true, and that can save your feelings and your heart at the end. Because when you really going through this, not transpiration, but when you're going through these changes with your mindset and everything, at the end you meet somebody who cares about you, who likes you 10 times more, yeah, and who got money to prove that. So just by materialistic stuff, you understand that there are some people outside who really want you to have this all, and they really want to prove their love, not with just words but the real actions, okay? And that's what really matters. So yeah, in general, my story of changing is that I was dating some guy. I didn't want to even date him, but it was just kind of situation that I saw that this might be good for me at that time, okay? Because I also know that I wouldn't stay in that place for long, but I thought this guy can bring some benefits into my life at that point, okay? And I was dating that guy, and I was never requesting money, I was never requesting anything extra, uh, but anyway, that was a mistake. And that was the feeling that I didn't even want to date this guy. But obviously through time, we were together for 4 months, okay? We knew together for 4 months, so that was like really short time relationship, okay? But even though I didn't want to date him, he wanted to date me, okay? At first place, yeah. And even though I didn't want all of that, I got feelings for him. And that was hard because he started to go crazy. We broke up, and that was hurting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to deal with that. And that was the moment when I gave a chance to someone different. And that was the time when I started to watch her advices and take her advices. And that was the guy who really wasn't my age, wasn't the type of physical appearance I usually go for, and he was really trying to impress me. And because I didn't like him, because I had zero interest in him, he was trying so hard, and I was like, okay, okay, let me see where that can go, okay. And I never even claim that as a relationship, but the guy was working so hard, and I was learning how to improve my life by Shera's advices during like seeing this guy. And we didn't even live in the same city, we didn't even live in the same country, but the dude was flying more than 10 hours to see me like once in 3 years, and he was really doing it all. And just you to understand what I'm talking about, when you are not ready for something, when you don't feel like you deserve something good, because I had this conversation with you in my previous videos. When you don't feel like you deserve this, you will reject that. But in my case, I was a little bit lucky because this guy, even though I wasn't ready for that, he was like offering me that. Because most of the cases, if you don't ask for something, you will not get it, okay? But that was the case when I was not asking, but guy was really offering me. So I was in a situation that I lost my apartment, and that was the time and opportunity for him to prove himself. So he found for me an apartment, and that was out of my budget by my ideas. I was like, if I pay for this apartment by myself, that's a lot. This is not the money I want to pay for apartment. But that was my dream apartment. I really love that, the area, everything. I just love that. And we were looking for apartments together because he was actually providing me that. But I didn't know that time, because I thought we're not in a regular relationship. We didn't have nothing, okay? Not even like holding hands, nothing, okay? And so I was like, I don't know, this is actually my dream apartment and I love it a lot, but I don't think I got money for it. It's just so beautiful, but I think it's no. And he was like, it's okay, I can pay for it. And the thing The thing is that my reaction was not like Shera Seven, teach you actually, how react on these things. She actually teach you to say all of this sentence, to get what you want. But I said this like, oh my gosh, I don't have money for that. And he said, I can do that for you. And my reaction was, what I said was like, are you crazy? Can you imagine? I didn't say like, oh my gosh, you can really do it for me. That would be so cool. I'll be so happy. I didn't say that. I was like, are you crazy? I look at him like, are you insane? You gonna pay for it? And I didn't say that, but I thought like, oh my gosh, what if he's gonna, lie to me? He's gonna pay for 1 month and then disappear or something. But actually, this is so funny. But then at the end, we started to we will continue our talking, and he took the whole responsibility for payment for this my dream apartment at that time. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. These changes, they don't come in one day. Even though I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. I think I like it. I think I deserve it. And, I'm not into him, but let me take what he offers. That's cool. So it wasn't fast. It was 1 year for me, trying to change and, see how to apply all of these advices. So yeah, I know it's not easy. I know. It took me a year to come like where I stay right now, and I have another like another level of life now because I got upgrades on everything, and yeah, I am so happy where I stay right now. But the thing is that now I am ready to share how I became to this and how you can do that too for a really short time by following my advices and just working on yourself and getting this love for yourself. Because in a relationship, especially, the person who you love is the person who he will love. Okay? You understand? If you love him more than you love than yourself, right? He will love him too. If you love yourself more, he will love you too. Understand? This is how relationship is. If you love you, he will love you. If you love him, he will love him. So yeah, I think that was intense. I hope that was intense because for me, again, I was learning. I had my notes and I was writing everything to remember, to not forget. I was struggling because it's not easy to let it go, because I was everything. I was Barbara Barbara the builder. Okay, I was Big Misha, and obviously I have dated Dastis. Okay, so yeah, it's been very, very interesting job, but it's absolutely worth it, because at the end of the day, the only person you have every day is you, and this is someone who you will deal with till the day you die. Okay, so yeah, you have no choice but love yourself first. So yeah, I hope that was interesting. And yeah, sprinkle, sprinkle, y'all. I love Shera, and I hope she'll proud of me. She'll be proud of me someday. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Love you. Bye.